Today we are going to make this beautiful diamond pattern, and I'm just using a washcloth as a sample. I just really like to use washcloths as a sample. This is not a reversible pattern, so you will get a nice flat edge on one side and a beautiful textured with ridges that kind of pop up on the other side. This is not thick enough, I don't think, for a hot pad or a pot holder, but you can make two of them and slip stitch around the edge together and make a hot pad or pot holder out of it. This size is probably a little too big for that. This is a chain 38, so you might want to go smaller than that. I'm going to be using Lion Brand 24/7 cotton, which is a mercerized cotton. And I'm going to be using a 5mm crochet hook. I'm going to start with a slip knot. For this example, I'm going to do a foundation chain of 38. You can do any number that is a multiple of 4 plus 2. I have my foundation chain of 38. For row 1, we're going to put single crochets in every stitch all the way across, starting in the second chain from the hook. So this is the chain on the hook, 1, 2. And instead of going in the front of the stitch, like some people do, I like to do the back bump. So 1, 2, and then turn. I do this for all of my row 1s. Just because it gives it a nice tighter edge. You don't have to do this. You can go into the front of the stitch. But I do find that this keeps the foundation chain from getting too loose. Just do a single crochet in every stitch and you will have a total of 37 if you do the same foundation chain number that I did. That's the end of row 1. So this pattern, I'm going to demonstrate rows 1 through 7, and then the remaining part of the project is a repeat of rows 4 through 7. So this part is just getting our base for the other rows. For row 2, chain 2, turn your work, and do a double crochet in every stitch. So now we're going to move on to row 3. So chain 1 and turn your work. And I do believe that this is the hardest row of the entire project, and that is because you're going to start doing your foundation of these little diamond kind of 3D places. So if you can look at this right here, you can see that we're going to start where right now we're right here, and we're going to work down into row 1. And we're going to try to make these little V shapes. So the reason that this row is the most difficult is because when you do these treble stitches, it will look like they're not going straight. But once you come up here to these rows and you kind of come behind these posts and pull them, it will help to give it a shape. So when you first do this row, your shape may not look right, but you just need to make sure that as long as you're going behind the correct post, you should be okay. So let me show you what we're going to do. We're going to do a front post treble stitch, and we're going to go down behind the second single crochet in this row. So to do that, we're going to go right here behind this stitch. So this is the first single crochet, and this is the second single crochet. So when you do a front post stitch, you go in behind the stitch. So to do a treble, you yarn over twice. I'm going to come in behind that single crochet, yarn over and pull through behind that post, and then pull your yarn up just a little bit. Yarn over and go through two, yarn over and go through two, yarn over and go through two. That is a treble stitch in the front post. And now the next 3 stitches are going to just be a single crochet. So if you look at the back, if you're looking at it like this is the row, we're not going to go into that first stitch. That's the one we did our treble stitch for. So then the next stitch next to it is where we're going to do our single crochet. It's a little bit hidden by your treble stitch. So do a single crochet in that one, and then in the next 2. So you're putting in 3 single crochets after you did the front post treble stitch. And now we're going to do another treble stitch, but we're going to do 2 together. So we will start it behind this one, and we will end it over here. And that is what gives us this. So this is the one we have right here. And we're going to start it behind there, and we're going to end it 4 over, because we're going to skip 3 for the 3 single crochets that we did. So yarn over twice, and then we're going to go behind that treble stitch. You need to actually get down where you went behind it. Yarn over and pull through. Pull your yarn up just a little bit. Yarn over, go through 2. Yarn over, go through 2, and then stop. Now we're going to do the second leg. But we're going to skip this single crochet, and this single crochet, and we're going to go right here. So yarn over twice, go behind that single crochet, yarn over and pull through, pull up just a little bit, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, and then yarn over and go through all 3. And now we're going to do 3 single crochets again. So when you look in the back, we're going to skip that one right there, because that is the front post treble together stitch that we did. So then go into the one next to it and then do single crochets in 3 stitches. Okay, so this is what it should look like. And when you look at the back, it should look like you have a skipped stitch here and a skipped stitch in the beginning with 3 single crochets in between. And that's what it's going to look like all the way across the back. So now we're going to continue that pattern. And now we're going to connect this leg to a single crochet 4 over. So you will skip 3 for those single crochets that you did. So yarn over twice, go in behind. Make sure you're going into the actual stitch and you're not just catching behind that, because if you do that, it's going to slide up to the top. So actually go down into that same stitch. Yarn over, pull through, bring your yarn up just a little bit. Yarn over, go through 2. Yarn over, go through 2 and stop. Now we're going to yarn over twice and we're going to skip 3 single crochets and go behind the 4th one. Yarn over, pull through. Pull up your yarn just a little bit. Yarn over, go through 2. Yarn over, go through 2. Yarn over and go through all 3. Now look at the back. You're going to skip that one, and then the next one, you're going to start doing 3 single crochets. We're going to continue this pattern until we get to the end. So do our front post starting here. We're going to skip 1, 2, 3, go into the 4th one. Look at the back, skip 1, start your 3 single crochets in the next one. Okay, I'm going to continue repeating that pattern till I get to the end, and then I will show you how to end this row. If you are finding that you are having trouble with this row, because I do think that this row is very challenging, even if you have been crocheting for a while, it's pretty challenging as far as it's awkward to hold the project without it getting too misshapen. So if you're having a hard time getting these front post treble stitches to look right, just a couple of things little tips that I found along the way. So try to keep your thumb holding all of your stitches in place as you go. So when you do your first part of the treble, always make sure you are putting it into that stitch. That is a common mistake. You won't need to worry about this for the rest of the project. And then sort of keep your thumb on that stitch as you're coming through, and it will kind of help to keep the shape from coming apart. And just keep moving your thumb to place wherever you're working. And then when you come over to the fourth one, and it can be a little confusing to find the exact place where the single crochet post is because the post isn't as obvious as other stitches. So just look at where it goes into your foundation chain right there. So this right here is your first post, second one, third one, and then fourth. So you're putting your hook in this side of the hole and coming out on the other side. And that is what makes it go all the way behind that post. And then I like to just fold this down and hold that right there to keep everything from getting too loose, and then pull up a little bit and then readjust. Hold on to that. And then just keep moving your finger to hold it tight. And then once you get through the 3 and start your single crochets, once you get that first single crochet in, then it gets a little bit easier. You don't have to hold all your stitches so tightly. I know this one is hard, but if you get through row 3, the rest of the project will be much easier, I promise. Okay, now I'm at the end. I just finished doing the 3 single crochets and I have 1 stitch left. And this one is going to be a little bit different. We're still going to do the front post treble stitch. However, we are going to start it here like we normally do. Going behind that post. And this time, since we don't have another place to finish our little triangle, we are going to do a single crochet in that last stitch. So continue to leave the 2 loops on your hook. Go into that last stitch, yarn over, pull through. You will have 3 instead of 2 like a single crochet normally has because you still have those 2. Yarn over and pull through all 3. And that is how you will end row 3. And now we're going to go into row 4, which is the first row of the 4-row repeat. So 4 through 7 is going to be the rest of the project's pattern. So if you made it this far, then the worst of it is over and the rest of the project should be a lot easier and quicker. So just take your time with row 3 and know that that row is going to take longer than the rest of the rows, and just go slow and make sure that you get everything just right so that the rest of the project will look the way it's supposed to look. Okay, row 4, chain 2. Turn your work. This row is very easy. You're just going to do a double crochet in every stitch. Just continue that all the way down. Okay, that is the end of row 4. And then for row 5, we're going to chain 1, turn your work, We're going to put a single crochet in the first 2 stitches. And then we're going to do the front post treble together. So we're going to connect right here, and you don't need to go into the stitch behind. You can if you want to. You can also just grab it right here. Yarn over twice. Go behind, yarn over, pull through, pull just a little bit on your yarn. Go through 2, go through 2. And then we're going to do the second part of that treble together right here behind these 2 stitches. So yarn over twice, go behind, yarn over and pull through. Going to bring the yarn up just a little bit. Yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through all 3. And I do like to move my thumb up as I go just to keep it from getting too stretched out. So right here you can see this looks a little weird, but once you put your 3 single crochets in, then it's going to all take its shape. So look in the back, you're going to skip that one and then start your 3 single crochet stitches. So there's 1, next 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So now it's starting to take shape. And we're going to continue that pattern. So our next front post treble is going to come behind here. And then it's going to connect over here. And then do your 3 single crochets. Make sure you're skipping 1. And then come in behind here. And then repeat that all the way till you get to the end. And then when I get to the end, I'll come back and show you how we're going to finish this row. Okay, I just finished the 3 single crochets. So I will do the front post. I'm going to go into that leg right there. And then look behind, and that's the one that you're going to skip, and you should have 2 stitches left, and do a single crochet in the last 2 stitches. Okay, and that is the end of row 5. So row 6, we're going to chain 2. You always chain 2 on the double crochet row, and you always chain 1 on the row where you do your front post treble stitches. So turn your work and just do a double crochet in every stitch. That is the end of row 6. And now for row 7, this is the last row in the repeat pattern. We're going to go back to adding to these diamonds. So because this is a front post row, we are going to chain 1. Turn your work. So row 7 is very similar to row 5 as far as doing the linked front post stitches, but you have to change the way you start and end each row to make the diamond shapes work out right. So for this one, we're going to do the front post treble stitch, but it's not going to be linked. It's only going to go behind this. So do one of those and go all the way through that stitch, and then go into your 3 single crochets. So you look back here and you are skipping that first stitch in the row because that's where you're going to use that as if you did your triple stitch. Then go in the one next to it. We're going to do 3 single crochets. And then now we go right back into doing the front post treble stitches together. And then skip 1 stitch and do your 3 single crochets. And repeat that until you get to the end of the row. And I will show you how we will end row 7. Okay, I'm doing the 3 single crochets after the linked front post stitches. So when you do that, you got your last set of 3 single crochets. The last stitch is going to be similar to how we ended row 3. We're going to do a front post treble starting here, and then go through your 2, yarn over, go through 2, and then you should have 1 stitch left, and you're going to put a single crochet in that stitch, just like we did in row 3. And that is the end of row 7. So you're just going to repeat rows 4 through 7. So this next row will be your double crochet row. So the pattern is basically just a row of double crochets and then a row of your front post linked stitches to make diamonds, and then another row of double crochet, and then another row of the diamonds. If you are going along here and it looks like things just aren't looking like they're straight or right, couple of things to look at to see if you've done it right. When you look at the back, make sure you are seeing this skipped stitch in between the 3 single crochets, because that is where your linked front post come together. And so from the back, it should look like it skipped. So that's the first thing I would look at to make sure that you've got 3 single crochets, and then what looks like a skipped, but it has a stitch up here. And then I would also look at how your rows start and end, because it should end, every other part of your triangle should end with a leg that only has part of it. And then it should start with one that has just one leg. So just go back and make sure that the beginning and ending of rows 5 and 7 are done correctly, and everything should match up right. And if you get past row 3, the rest of it should be super easy, and it's definitely worth the effort to get this pattern right, because it is very beautiful. Okay, I am coming to the end of my project. This is going to be my last row. And because this is row 7, we will start with the leg, and we will end with a single crochet. And that is the end of that. And if you did an initial foundation chain of 38, this is about 8.5 and a little bit less than 8.5, but I'm not going to go all the way because I don't want to stop in the middle of a pattern. I wanted to end with row 7. So I'm going to cut that. And tie it off. Make another knot. And I'm going to weave in my end. And I am going to use this as a wash rag.